Hi and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm doing a little miniature painting of a mountain bluebird. It's a little watercolor piece, perfect for traveling, which is why I'm working on little miniatures at the moment. And this picture reference is courtesy of Miss Trina Artist, my friend from junior high school. Go check her out because her wildlife photography is amazing. And I appreciate her letting me use her work as reference for my own painting. So thank you so much, Trina. And let's get started with this cute little guy. All right, there's the quick view of the reference image that I selected and my little travel art baggie that I've got going on here that I like to use for my miniature watercolor stuff. I have some sketchbook stuff as well. Not sure if next week I'll do something with the sketchbook or something with watercolor. I've not decided at this point. I'm gonna work on watercolor right now. I have two options. Oh, hi Charlie. He's so sweet. My little companion while I paint. So the last time I did a little watercolor in that one was 6 months ago. And then this guy really been enjoying the little miniature watercolor pieces. And I didn't bring tape, so I decided to go with the little one. I was considering doing the slightly larger one, but decided, you know what, I'm going to do the smaller one. And it fits the composition well for that one. So it's a nice square Instagram image. And so I'm going to start with a sketch. I don't always sketch out in these tiny ones, but because I'm painting a bird, I think it's wise when you're painting a subject such as a bird, that it's good to kind of sketch things out. Sometimes I mean, it could be a landscape too that you want to sketch out, and that's fine too. Like you can sketch out your piece always if you want. There are certain instances where I just don't feel the need to, but when it's something that, hey, if I do the proportions really off for a bird, you're gonna notice. If I'm painting a cloud, I can kind of play around with it as I wish. So this I wanted to be a little bit more um, in the likeness of a bird. So I want it to look like a bird. I love actually landscapes with fences in them or something else in them. It kind of gives you a reference point for size and that sort of thing. So now that I've sketched it on, I can get painting. So I've decided to start with the bluebird because that was what really drew me in to begin with. So I want to get that blue going. And I've gone straight up blue and it's not quite the right blue, but that's okay. It's a good starting point. And I'm going to throw in some of this darker blue that will create some likeness and just a bit of depth and whatnot because we have differing tones of blue in there, shades of blue, I suppose. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get those details in. I brought my other brushes, but I'm just gonna try this one. I didn't bring a little water dish, but there's so many things you can use as a water dish. And you can even use these as your water for your other brushes. So, I mean, you can make things work, right? A little lifting with the cloth. So I play around a lot with these details. You don't have to, you can go pretty minimal and still get a good likeness, but I was just really getting into it, and so I decided to kind of fixate on detail. So you'll see this evolve, especially as you add a background. I think it makes a big difference to see just the colors that are in this particular image, this kind of reddish background. I think the current state of the post is a little yellowy, kind of green like, and I think a bluer toned wood would look just a bit better with the background that's reddish. Give it a little more balance, if you know, you know. And I'm playing around a lot with the background as well. I personally love using white with watercolors. I know, well, I feel like it's frowned upon, and it's not necessarily the traditional or right way to use watercolors, but if you enjoy it, I don't see a problem with it. I still try to use the white paper as, okay, this is my white, but there's certain instances where using a white paint for the watercolors can be really helpful. It creates just kind of this opaqueness to the tones, the colors that I really like. So I like it, so I'm going to use it. Don't be a hater. All right, so Just preemptively mentioning those things. So I'm adding in these really dark values now. It's the darkest colors that I have on here. And this is a really good practice actually. If you're just beginning, start with your values. Start with your darkest darks, your lightest lights. Use a masking fluid or something to prevent the white from getting muddled. So you can use tape or masking fluid, or even like the crayons that I have work pretty well. Depends how precise you need those white sections to be. If you need it more precise, use something like tape or masking fluid. If you're not as worried and you want some texture, the crayon works really well um, for something quick, like with texture in a landscape scene that I've used in previous videos for doing these like miniature paintings that I'm working on. So that's an option. You can also use white if you want to use like a gesso if you really want a bright white. That's a nice opaque moment. So it depends how opaque you need your white to be, how brilliant you need it. And yeah, so I'm working in these details from my darks and my lights, and that's something you should really focus on when you're beginner is finding, first of all, if you find a reference image that has bright lights and dark darks, that would be important. If you're working on an image that doesn't have those and you're trying to, use that as a reference, it might not go so well. So that's my recommendation. And yeah, I think that's a good place to go. I like color though, and so I really struggle with just doing a black and white. But you know what? That's actually a really good challenge for me is to paint in black and white. I think that's the next thing I'm going to do is focus on what I tell all of you to focus on. Practice what I preach. That will be what I do. And I love when I do these voiceovers. It's like, oh yeah, I should do this. And so it's like I learn things as I'm sharing them. I'm like, yes, okay, teacher, follow your own practice, please. Um, I don't know if you've seen these bluebirds in real life, but they're pretty spectacular. They're gorgeous. I have seen them in real life, and not very often though. I don't feel like they're around very frequently. I mean, I see more magpies, crows, seagulls, um, house sparrows, which the house sparrows actually, they seem cute, but they're actually kind of terrors, and they attack these beautiful bluebirds. And so I think we don't see as many of these bluebirds because of those sparrows. So, chickadees, I love chickadees. I would love to paint more chickadees. Chickadee dee dee dee. So fun. Um, yeah, I don't know what it is about painting birds. I don't think I have any kind of obsession with birds. I think they're so beautiful. I love their feathers. Um, I love the idea of flying. But I don't really know why I love to paint them so much. But I do. So it's interesting to discover something that you really enjoy. Sometimes you don't know until you try. You might think that you like it, or you might think you hate it, and then you try it, and then you love it, or you think you love it, and you try it, and you hate it. All kinds of things. That's life, right? And it's so fun most of the time. At least these experimental ideas are. If art is a hobby for you, if it's a therapeutic thing for you, something you can turn to when you're feeling various life emotions, then why not build a skill? Sometimes building a skill, it's like it's a productive thing, but also a therapeutic thing at the same time. Something fun, not like homework. I'm back in school and it's homework. Study. Okay, we're getting down to more minor details here. The tiny details that actually, we say minor. I say minor, but they're really important. They make a big difference. Probably make all the difference, actually. So, yeah, I'm just going in, making sure there's any parts that stand out to you in some way and make you feel a little uneasy. You know that that needs work. So It's definitely a feeling of going with your gut and pushing past points where you think you're done, but also holding back when you know it is done. So not going too far either. I'm pretty happy with how this piece turned out. It's pretty cute. I like it. I think it'd be fun to do this, try this one in acrylic, because I can do one of those nice blurry backgrounds. But watercolor's fun. It's magical. It's something I want to do more of. You know, it'd be great for this background. I was just thinking, you could splatter while the paint is, while your page is still wet. But the way I've done these small ones, they dry so quickly. But I could have splattered, and then you just kind of cover where the bird is, where you don't want any splatter, maybe the post. So you just have splatter in the background. But I think that would be kind of cool. It gives it a nice feel. And when it's still kind of wet, you're going to have more dispersion of it. It's not going to be like strong dots of color, but you could kind of do some depth with that, like some that do disperse like that, and then some that don't. So I was just checking the previous pages to see how I signed them, and most of them I didn't sign actually, but I was like, I want to sign this one. So I've signed it. Boom. KMO. Thanks so much for watching. There's plenty other videos to go check out if you're new to my channel. And if you're here weekly, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate your support. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Bye now.